What's up, guys? It's Marty Schwartz here. Today we're back with another video. Today we're going to be discussing power chords and the notes that correspond to these different power chords. So let's just go ahead and jump right into the video, guys. So we're going to start with an open E power chord. So here we're going to put our finger, preferably that right index finger. We're going to put that index finger on the second fret of the A string, and we're only going to strum the top two strings. So the open E and that second fret A string. So that's an open E power chord, guys. Now, next, we're going to go over the open A power chord. So same concept, that right index finger right on the second fret of the D string this time, so one string down, and we're going to strum only the A string, the open A string, and that second fret D string. Now next, we're going to go open the open D power chord. So same concept, guys. We're going to move our right index finger down one string to the second fret G string, and we're going to strum just the D string open and that second fret G string. And you can kind of get fun with it with those little add-ons. But, you know. So that's our open power chords. Now next, we're going to go right up the fretboard on the E string, and then we're going to go right up the fretboard on the A string and show you how it corresponds to the other strings. So, right here, first fret on the E string, we're going to play an F power chord. Hold on, I got to tune my guitar a little bit. Better. That is a F power chord. So we're gonna put our index finger on the first fret of the E string, and we're gonna put our ring finger on the third fret of the A string, and then our pinky right behind that that ring finger on the third fret of the D string. So we're gonna go. Okay. Now we're gonna shift that same shape up one fret. Now we're on the second fret. Our our index finger is on our second fret on the E string, and that's going to be an F sharp power chord. So we got F, F sharp. Now we're going to put it same shape. Now we're going up to the third fret. That is a G power chord, guys. So look. Same notes. Now, we're going to go up one more fret. So to the fourth string, to the fourth fret of the E string. Now, guess what that would be? If this was F, this was F sharp, this was G, what is this going to be? G sharp, guys. Okay? So, now we're going to shift that same shape up, and if you forgot the shape, we're going to go index finger, fifth fret of the E string, ring finger, seventh fret of the A string, pinky, seventh fret of the D string. That is a D power chord. I mean an A power chord. That is an A power chord, guys. A D would be right below it. This is an A power chord. So you could play it open like this, or you could play it up here like this. And now watch this. This is how similar it is. These little add-ons correspond. Same thing, just different position. Now, if we're going up to the 6th fret of the E string, and we were just on the 5th fret, guess what it is? This would be an A sharp, but it's typically called the B flat. B flat. Okay, this is a B flat. Or an A sharp. You can also play it here. Now we're going to the B. The B, you can play it 7th fret of the E string. That's 7th fret. That's a B. That is a B power chord. You can also play it on the 2nd fret of the A string. We'll get to the A string next, and we'll show you how it all corresponds afterwards. Now, after that B, you have a C power chord. I know you know your open chords. You also play it here. Alright, that is a C power chord. So we have B flat, B. On that 8th fret of the E string, we have a C power chord. Now we have a C sharp on the 9th fret. Now, after C sharp, we have a D power chord on the 10th fret. That is a D. You can also play it here. See, it's all the same though, but all different places of the neck. Now we would have a D flat on that 11th fret. Now, guess what happens once we get to that 12th fret here, that double daughter, man. Guess what happens? So we're going to get to the 12th fret, and everything repeats. So look, open E, 12th fret is an E, but just 1 octave higher. And then you have F on the 13th fret. Just 1 octave higher, guys. So everything repeats after the 12th fret. 12th fret is basically open strings, but 1 octave higher. So that's basically like playing open strings. This is like an open E. This is like an open A. Alright, now let's get to the A string, guys. So we start off 1st fret, that same exact shape. We're going to go index finger, 1st fret of the A. We're going to go ring finger, 3rd fret of the D string. And we're going to go pinky, 3rd fret of the G string. Now, I like it better. It's a fuller sound when you play with the pinky. You don't have to. Whatever is easier for you. I'll try playing with the pinky to get used to it, because it's mostly how you're going to be playing bar chords as well. So we have that 1st fret is an A sharp or B flat, just like I showed you up here. So let me explain that. So whatever string you're hitting. Let's say I'm hitting a whatever string below, basically. So let's say I'm hitting the first fret of the A string. If I go 5 frets up, 5 frets up, 5 fingers, 5 frets up, I am going to be playing that same note, but on the E string. So look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So look, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're on the first fret, 6th fret, same chord. Now, let's go to the second string, second string actually, the A string. We're gonna go second fret of the A string, B power chord. That's a B power chord. Now we go to the 3rd fret, C power chord. And we're open C. And where you can play it up here too, on that 8th fret of the E string. We're 5 frets up, 3rd, 8. Now we have a C sharp. Now we have a D on the 5th string. You know, because 4th string would be sharp of the C. Now we have a D on the 5th string of on the 5th fret. 5th fret. I keep fucking up the frets and the strings. On the 5th fret of the A string. Now we go to the next one. We have an E flat or a D sharp, typically referred to as E flat, on the 6th fret of the A string. Now flat means it would be one before that note. So look, 7th fret of the, A string is an E power chord, just an octave higher than this. Same note, just different octave. It's the same octave as that, though. Same octave as the 12th fret. That's what it is. So if you really wanted to play that 12th fret E, you'd play it down here for the most part, unless you're Tony Iommi and Black Sabbath. There you go. So now after that E power chord, just as I showed you up here, you went from E to F, or E open to F. You go E to F. Okay? Then you have F sharp on that 9th fret. So F is on the 8th fret of the A string. A sharp, 9th fret of the A string. I mean F sharp, 9th fret of the A string. Now after F sharp, what do you think happens? What happened up here? We went F, F sharp. What happened here? Were you paying attention at the beginning of the video? We went G, G. So we go F, F sharp, G, G. And then we had G sharp. That's what happened. And then what happened after G sharp? G, G sharp, A, guys. So that different octave, that higher octave of the open A. And then after that, you got A flat up here. And then you have a B. Just all higher octaves. So, you keep hearing me say about octaves. So, the same shape as a power chord, but you remove that middle string. So, when you're playing a power chord, it's almost like a little sandwich. Let's go with G, okay? You know what? I'll go with A. How about that? So we got an A. So we have our index finger. Let's play an A power chord, guys. So we have our index finger on the 5th fret of the E string. Then we have our ring finger on the 7th fret of the A string. Then we have our pinky on the 7th fret of the D string. That's an A power chord. You want to play an A octave, you're going to play this. You're going to remove that pinky, move your ring finger down 1 fret. So now we're just playing the 5th fret of the E string. We're muting that middle string, which would be the A string in this case. And then we're playing the 7th fret of the D. Now, guess what that note is? It's that higher octave of the A. So now you know your notes for the D string as well, because you just go by the octave. A, G, G, F, F. Now let's move that concept down 1 string. We're going to go A, we're going to play a C. So C power chord, guys. Remove that finger. And that is a C octave. So C, C. So now you know your notes on the G string as well. B string will take a little more memory because the octaves are a little different. So I'm not going to confuse you with that in this video. Actually, you know what? We're going to go into that. So the octave, instead of it... So think about this. To play an octave, you're playing the note. So you want to play an A octave, for example. You would go to the 5th fret of the E string. And if you wanted to find that octave of the A, you would go 2 strings down. So you'd go 1, 2 to the D string. And you would go 2 frets up. And that applies for all of these notes. And that's your octave. So this, and just remember, when you're playing this as an E, you go 5 frets down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you hop over here, down a string. It's the same note. It's the same note. So look, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's your octaves explained. So let's move that down again. We're going to play an E. You want to play an E octave. So you want to play an E note. You would go down 2 strings. 1, D string is 1. G string is 2, and you'd go up 2 frets from the E. So 1, so you'd go 1, 2, then down 2, 1, 2. That's your E, guys. Okay. Now, if you want the B string explained, you'd play an octave on the D, but instead of 2 strings, instead of 2 frets, you go 3 frets. And the D, remember, you're going off of your E to find out what that D is. If you don't know it already, which I'm not expecting you to know it. Honestly, I don't really know it. I go off the E string. So, look, I got my finger on the 3rd fret of the D string, so that means it corresponds to the 1st fret of the E string. So that means it's an F. This is an F. So that means if I play the 4th fret, the 6th fret of the B string, that's an F too. that's an octave, but you see, instead of going 2 frets, we're going 3. So instead of, you know, like this was 1, 2, and then we go down the 2 strings. This is 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Down the 2 strings. So that's octaves explained. So that will show you every note. And remember, the E string, I didn't even explain the simple. You learned this E string, you know this E string. Same thing, octave difference, or a couple octaves. Honestly, I don't know, but it's just an octave difference. So you learn this E string, so what's the 5th fret here? It's an A. What's the 5th fret here? It's an A. So that's all your notes explained. Okay, and you know, this will take some memory. I mean, I learned it over some time and everything. And now let's go back to the power chords, because we're going to explain bar chords. So you tell somebody to play a G bar chord. We're going to play the power chord, but instead of leaving my right index finger arched over the strings, and we're just playing these 3 strings, we're going to bar everything, all 6 strings, and we're going to play that. And that's a minor. That is a G minor bar chord, because our middle finger is up. But if we wanted to make this a G major bar chord, we would add our middle finger to that middle, in the middle of the bar chord. So it would be 4th fret of the G string. See how it corresponds to the open chord, but you wanted to play G minor, you lift that middle finger up, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, and we go. Now, it is the opposite when you play a bar chord on the A string. So you want to play a bar chord on the A string, same thing, power chord form, but instead of arching that finger and we're just playing the top 3 strings, we would be playing all of the strings, and we're going to pin that finger down on all 5 strings. We're not going to play the E string. We're just going to play the A string down. That's why I said 5 strings. So a major bar chord would actually be without the middle finger. Okay? Now we want a minor. We would put that sandwich in, we put that middle finger right down on the 4th fret of the B string. And you want to make sure your notes aren't buzzing either. Mine are buzzing a little bit, because if you can see this guitar my grandpa is letting me use right now since I'm out of town, bridge is halfway up off the body. So, couldn't change the strings. These strings are probably older than I am, to be quite honest. So, it's a little buzzing, a little out of tunage, but you're getting the lesson done here, you know. So, that's what I would explain for bar chords. And the bar chords are the same as the power chords. So, I'm trying to play a C bar chord. That's C minor, C major. Now, C power chord, same place. Bar chord now. Let's go to the 5th fret. D power chord. D minor bar chord. D major. And yeah, it's just buzzing because of, you know, these strings and this old raggedy guitar, and strings are about an inch off the frets, and they're so old and rusty and thick. Probably 12 gauge. Honestly, could be 13 gauge strings since it lifted the bridge up out of the guitar. I don't think 12 gauge would have enough tension to lift these out of the guitar, but so there's our lesson with that. And I think we've covered all bases today. So let's just rock out a little bit, man. I'm just fucking around. You know, we're not gonna bend these strings on this guitar. Tripping out. I think I'm breaking it even more, actually. See that bridge lifting off, man, but whatever, screw it. Alright guys, have a great day. Hope you enjoyed today's video, and I hope we learned a lot here. Thank you. Test next week.